So I have to know that other people know me. I don't speak very well. That's not good. All right, thank you. But it's really a special night, and I have made to know uh, this on, and thank you. I made to know. I wanted to wish you happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, reading all the best and appropriate reasons moving forward into 2022. I thank you very much for being here. Um, and I have to write these down. I rediscovered the word about how I live. Because in my neurodivergent way, get into something. The things I need to say are here, down here. So, but this anthology book we used to have in France, it was mostly compiled by Irene Weiss. I did a lot of work on the back end. Maybe a little on the front end, the back end. Neil Williams, Justin Sterling came in editing, and but as I was reading the poems, they're very touching. I mean, they're very, again, every book we've done, I take it seriously because I want Warren to be. We have a wonderful, uh, not just wonderful, but people who are knowledgeable, who are really uh, knowledgeable of their profession. You know, Don is here, Don and Ernie are here. But these writers, I was thinking today when I was trying after I left, I was thinking before I was with Sterling, and then after I left Sterling, and trying to figure out what wars, and just like in Sherman Johnson, as far as the voice and active voice, and helping the community while people stay here. Very professional, Krista. But you writers, I was just thinking about Shakespeare or something, but the title was the phrase, and I say it now, probably would know better than me, but it was Infants of the Spring. And the Infants of the Spring was something that Wilder Sterling was referring to the Harlem Renaissance writers. And it was a book that he wrote, but Infants of the Spring was something he borrowed somewhere else, and I learned it in a higher class, where he got that from. So I was looking at in the spring of our infancy, as we grow as writers, we've been together like 8. I've been, I love you, and you carry me. I don't kind of figure out whatever the best for you. You can kind of rag me on the inside, but I'm good. But this whole infancy, as we move forward, it's like 8 years, 9 years. Now we're into our adolescence. I think I'm just looking forward to great writing, to go with these murals that are coming up, to go with whatever changes are coming up in town, to go with this magnificent antiquing and antiquers and preservation and sustainers, that this can once again be a place to visit for all the enriching things and all the right things. And I don't know, animal friends, again, just the people who contributed, the things that they think. I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad that you're here. And with that, we can just get started. I'll add some little stuff later because we're starting a little late and relevant from the state. We're gonna have a special presentation tonight. So I'm glad that you're here. You're gonna hear some wonderful poems tonight. And you don't have to cut your clothes off, but you can read them, silence them, so nobody's disturbed, middle of the week. for the middle of the presentation. And I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Once again, there's a restaurant behind me. The wine, the water, stack in the back, crackers. And then think about the we want you to enjoy yourself and think about your animal friends have been perhaps a lifesaver to you, to us, in life, in the past. I want to read, I'll start, and I would advise you to follow me. I mean, I always say, and again, I'm telling you for WHAM. Those of you who are looking at the live stream, WHAM is the Warren Artist Market. We're on the Baltimore Road. We have a mural on our house across the street, and we're commissioning small publishing arts concern. And we've been here, and hopefully we'll be here. But this first poem, and I don't want to get anybody down. It's just our leader is the guy, but I will share with her probably a month or so ago. And man, it's a magnificent poem. And so I know there are like 4 or 5 that I picked out, and I thought was really great. Best anthologist. But Sienna Jones contributed from Georgia, and I just remember her name right off because I went through it about a cat. Not really a cat down. I know what her. Yeah, night kitty. What I say? Way out. Again, it's looking perspective. And I was reading Sienna Jones' tweet. Schwinn, everything. Not Schwinn, lady. You know, they rest in the cat. But Sienna Jones wrote, this is our sacrificial poem. What I get to do. I get to have plants because you are here. I get to leave my garson out because you are here to eat it. I get to leave my pea cushion out because you aren't here to eat those either. I get to sleep through the night after crying myself to sleep because you are here to jump into the dresser to wake me. I get to accidentally make a noise and not soothe you with the sorry and slow hygiene. I have to video meetings without introducing everyone to each but it isn't here. I get a quarter of the room back because your furniture isn't there anymore. There still isn't anything there. I get a cat-sized hole in my being because you aren't there. I get the last picture I took of you a week before I went to leave. When you invited me to play, but you really didn't feel like it. I get your fur on my skin, and I get to worry about finding food. I get a part of my desk back where your bed was. I get not to worry that you could die alone while I was at the store. I get to see you again someday because you're dead. And as I was reading in Harvard Law, I was like, okay. I'll read my first poem. I'm only going to read a couple because so many of you here. I really cut out some, and I'm glad because now I can give them up to my mother. Because I think there are 2 poems in there, and my mother was telling me that too. about our pets the way I remember them. But my mother. Today, speaking of pets, my 84-year-old mother had just was a Lewisburg. Everyone called. She tried to do it. And I do it. I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm in Lewisburg. I'm in the center stores. I'm looking for cat food. I can't find any. And I go, oh my gosh. Start, I can't, the word used to shit out of me. I can't get her to be at home. Like, it's like I worry about you more than you know. I tell her once a week at least. I love you more than you know. But she's determined to try, but she's looking for cat food. Pongo and Patty, the country dogs. I had them. I crashed out, burned out, left to go try to do something about myself. And Pongo and Patty kind of learned how to cook. Pongo and Patty were two dogs I had to be. Now let's look at my mother. She took the best of stick Patty care of them. They had houses on the boards. But I was in Michigan. It's cool. I mean, that treatment center. But I had to do my dog. Pongo and Patty, country dogs. Really like that. It took two black Weimaraners to teach me obedience perfectly. About how I should be towards my Lord. And make me realize how disgraceful my actions have been, and also teaching me about grace and mercy. I got them from a beautiful young girl at Southern States. That's it was down there. And those are some of the best dogs ever. My daughter named them after the dogs in the Dalmatian movie. She liked the dogs. I was more into Cruella de Vil. Pongo was the run. Patty was the last girl not chosen. And they never had to be on the chain or kennel. They always stayed home on the property. They hunted both sides of the creek together. They ate together. Were not terribly jealous. Never remember them fighting or hooping in the yard. Patty died of the seventh order. She cut her out when Charlotte broke from glass and that's speaking in a back down, undiscarded aluminum door that wasn't taken away. So ever since then, I've taken all the dump. I've taken to the dump all the shards and glass scraps in my yard. Pongo? Oh, he lived a long, long, heavy life. I don't know if he ever bothered any pups. He became a critic, slow and gray as we do, dying of old age in his heated house. I buried him where we used to walk along the creek. He was great. Next poet is editor of the book, Burning Light.
It's a long like my very first time so to read in front of the crowd. And because Thomas was not there. After midnight. After a year of morning busy. Like really was like a child for 3 years, a little bit less, or under something like that. And she passed away. So after a morning, the year of morning, she came to me at 4 a.m. Get the cat, get the cat. You knew about my friend friend who needed a good home for her 4-year-old, pure black, J-I-S, midnight. And then I rejected the offer. Calling on the cell phone, bring the cat, said I, boldly. Who danced around each other. Very masculine, huge ego, pushes my keyboard away, makes room to lie between me and the computer, beats my flamingo painted mouse, pause, jealousy rising, demands my attention, my affection, walks with me every morning, proud, is loving, curls my green glass, talks to me and listens intently. I added Captain to his name because he is one. Oh, Lizzie, what have you done? The cat came back. A true story that I read in the Run is Crazy one. Long ago on the Isle of Wight, black cat Jess at 3 years old disappeared from a lovely garden loop, found comforted by the Rhinehouse group. Assisted living folks needed some cheers. Known as Timothy, Jess gave them 14 happy years. Going down, starting to gray, no more of them. Off to the shelter he went, standing to her chin. Returned to a surprise, older newspaper. We still love and miss Jess, and hugs occasionally. The cat came back, needed some care. Having never faded from love for him, I was clear. Thank you. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce the author of the books of Mildred and Sarah Engel, Don Arnold, and his partner, Ernie Clinton. And they're here tonight. In the last 4 or 5 years, they have created an award, a beautiful award. I love it when the $100 campaign. To people that figured out where our poetry nights that were beneficial to our town, promoted literacy. And they have chosen but they are here tonight. We take an award. Very deserving. Don Arnold, Ernie Clinton. Congratulations on the book.
Well, I'm Don, and I thank you for our gift to it. That's photos of her. Other than this, we call it fraud. In 2017, Thomas was the first one. In 2018, it was me. 2019, it was Jane Ball Broom. And it was in 2020, it was nobody because of all the circumstances. I was very ill, not with COVID, but
$200 check this week? Sorry.
Just be patient. It doesn't get any better. So anyway, every year we do that, always begin with one sentence. Writing is a lonely pursuit. And I emphasize that because when I was writing with Mildred and Sarah Engel, it was during COVID, and finally we put it together. Had plenty of time to do that. I realized how lonely that was. Two friends read it. Of course, if they're really friends, they like it. So, you know, they don't tell you if they don't. So I really needed some positive critique because writers are sensitive, guys are sensitive. So when we conceived of this award, it was for those people who really do help us to become better. They support us, but they do something else that's really, really important. They inspire us. And there's so many ways that a person can inspire another person. But what we're looking for is that positive critique. But we're also looking for examples of excellence. We all find those examples in our own free reading. You know those moments when you stop and say, or there's just a little phrase that is so, I wish I could do that. Well, if I could sing those things, read those, it's an inspiration to you to do something beautiful like that. That someday someone will stop. One of my ex-students, who's now 52 years old, told me the other day, there are things you write that I stop and I just say them in my mind. And I chill. I really get that. So that's the person that we're looking to honor. And so far, we've done a pretty good job with 3 people who won. But I always like to do a teaser. The teaser is I'm going to give you 10 adjectives that describe this person. And your job is to correctly guess, but you can't tell us because you may be wrong. But your job is to try to figure out who. Okay, this person is gifted. This person is tireless. So if you're a lazy, you just got to. This person is intelligent. This person is insightful. This person is prolific. This person is experienced. This person is very sensitive. This person is versatile. This person is honest and inspiring. This person is Jack Beecher. The only thing I can say is thank you very much.
Now he needs a mic. Never, ever. I'm going to get your body. All right, there you go.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud to accept. Thank you.
Okay, show a photo.
You need to move the mic out of the way.
Yes, sir. Yeah. If you'll excuse us. One moment. The libraries got created here, Oakley Hall and all this hard work. Where do you want? I'm gonna be significant. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Lucy Weldon. She's a pillar of our community. She's been Cumberland County ever since I've been here, so at least for 20 years. And we love you. Thank you for being here. Let's give her a hand. Thank you. We couldn't let Jack know. We couldn't let you know. So this is when we feel our dramatic moment. And there were several reasons why we chose Jack. And Don asked, you know, so like 90 to 25 words in the last year. He wanted it really tight. You know, we understand it writers. Now, you know, and my part was that Jack, he's inspired me from day one when he came, when we were working landscape, and he came. I was like crying because he came, and you see how quick I started tearing up. Because he came, and his poetics. It's like something Don shared with me about poetics, not just poetry, about making us work checks, and you know, it's about, and that's what this group does. It was about working hard. When he came and he talked to me a couple of times, like on the side, and I was like, "Yeah, I like you." And he kept coming back. You know, he kept coming back. Him and his wife, you know, and for me, in this interstitial poetic thing, you know, like, fuck, man, he drives, he's driven thousands of miles in 8 years to be here with us. He spends money in this town. He's been sick, and we've known. We've only lost a couple of members, but what he brings is this upper level of expertise. And what he wants to do, he stretches things. He makes people think about things you don't already think about and ask questions. And that's what we do as writers. He's written some beautiful poems and books he's given me, but what he's done for how Roger has benefited from, and that was Don's question, was just him being here and inspiring some of us. So maybe anybody I've inspired. It's like when our friend came from Carolina, who was in Detroit. We're all products of people we encounter. I'm a product of every one of you, everyone who's read. And so I became a product of them. He becomes a sister to me. But anybody who likes me might ask me where I get some from. It's based on Jack. Jack wants to do productions. Jack is just a benefit. I love him. I care about him. He cares about Warrington. He cares about this art scene. He pushes me to do more. And I'll stop right there. I can't say enough about you, man. We don't get a chance in life to do stuff. Tell people we love you, but I love you. I haven't been able to be there when you've been sick, but I love you to death. Yeah. And I love you, Judah, for getting him here, even because you knew that he needed to be here. Because that, tell me sometimes, the blue ladies will quit. There's nothing else to write about. And I know you can't, but when I went through that, I understood. I can't write it. I don't feel like it. You know, I can't even share that. I mean, you know, so it's like, Don just shared it. It's hard. And what I like about God, they say, writing is hard as like driving at night. But if you turn your lights on, drive slowly, you get to where you want to go. You won't run into the ditch. So Jack has helped me not run into a lot of ditches. I appreciate it. And I appreciate these two gentlemen for carrying out this award, keeping this Summer Writers Award going. Thank you. Thank you. Not just award for selling books and selling literature, and Don is able to talk literature. He's just not selling. He can talk to you about what you find, break it all the way down to what you have. So anyway, thank you, Jack. Don has been, he's going to stay here for one moment. He hasn't been out for a long time. So, thank you. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes.
You know, I'm kind of a savant. I've never fit in very well anywhere. I've been I coast to coast. So many times I found myself following the
same roads. But I'm highly appreciative of this group because they've given me an outlet that I didn't have here before. And I am grateful to every single member of this group. Thank you.
Peter's done, get everybody done. You don't have to stay next to a very heavy person. You can walk around and.
Probably know I've always put it down to the our book, and you haven't seen it on certain traffic. You have no problem. Yeah, no, we don't know. At any rate, there are 6 of us who get together, and they were kind enough during my illness, because I lost my driver's license because of this brain seizure type. And so they came to me. So it was lovely. We met in the van, fireside. We went on the front porch and picked up. And let's see, it's the 2 of us, and Tammy back there, Joanna, and Michael, and Laverne's not here, Laverne Garden, 6 of them. Well, they've meant the world to me. And what happened is that 6 of us really learned to talk about each other. So one of them, we have a different prompts each month that will make each other talk about. Some of them are personal things, but mostly we talk about how to life. Sometimes it's just intuitive, and sometimes it's very but anyway, this was from the prompt first time I met Tom. Here's my contribution. It's entitled in a Southern Bus Station, summer 1960. Waiting in a dusty old bus beside old worn railroad tracks in a hot, forgotten southern city called home. Another hot summer southern afternoon, late June 1950. Waiting with Mom. Where's the bus? Other things to do. Need to sweep the patio. Need to clean out that porch for the 5th time. Need to pace the hall. Need to fix dinner. 5:30 sharp. Can't be late. Not late, Mom. Patience. Looking through the big dusty windows of the sad bus station. Sad gray city. Haze from the heat of the day. I had tried 2 summers before to escape. Never got the chance. Leaving this forgotten place. See if there really is a world out there. Taking Trailways buses all the way to a summer. Marine Biological Research. 49 of the students. What would they do? Would I come back a different person? Suddenly visible through the haze of the big dusty windows. Rocky ocean shores. Island in Portland, Oregon. A young man finishing a day in the dock, climbing along the jagged rocks. See a sunset. See. Never seen summer, summer. Young and invisible again, finishing a lab reports twilight, caressed by the skies and the sea. Now sitting very still, staring at the open sea, dreaming of taking a flight from one of those huge gray stones out into the open sea like a seagull, floating on cool summer breezes, toward the quiet mystery of darkness. Meanwhile, still waiting in the dusty bus, in his bottle green short sleeved shirt and white and green striped seersucker pants. It's sure. Only one piece of cheap, heavy plastic luggage. Everything being out of escape to a dream. Mom fidgeting, wanting badly to get on with her afternoon, needed to drop by the grocery store. Dinner on the table, 5:30 sharp, what about this hot summer day? Was this how she had imagined her life when she was young? Maybe dinner at 6:30, or even 7. A couple of glasses of water. Sweat. I saw in the evening. Listen to some music. Maybe even talk. And feel the coexistence of someone. Would she even notice I'm wrong? Would I miss her? Should both of us die in the heat and loneliness of another summer in this lost place? Sound again of crashing waves on main rocks, suddenly interrupted by a roaring of a large Trailways bus. Destination Port Authority, New York City, largest bus station in the world. Changing there for the rest of the trip, arriving in Portland this afternoon. Wonder who I would meet on the bus. What would I say to them? They like me? Bye, Mom. Have a good summer. Gone. Alone now. Standing in line. Deep breath. Breathe at last. Exhale. Is this really happening to me? Everything going on the phone. And everything. Right. Quickly seeing a seat near the front, next to somebody's granddad. Hello, young man. And where are you headed? Maine summer research project. How about you? Visiting family in New York. Bus pulling away. Dark, long night. Many dark unknown cities, gentle noises of people talking, low lights, roar of the motor, heading toward a summer, the kind that can change a person's life. Driving next to a grandmother. Then around a little grandmother, live grandmother. Thank you, Mom, again. With her bus, would I ever really come home? Was it really goodbye to the boy in the blue shirt and the white and green stripe? Seriously.
So, thank you, God. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Jack. No, and I was really trying to listen. I wanted to ask you a question. What's the name of your last book? Sure. The Loves of Robert. Right. So that's the point I was going to make. No one has to look out. Love of Mary and on Amazon's been out for a couple of years. Okay, I feel so bad. I mean, again, my little crazy way. I thought I was later than that, but I finally was able to read it. It's a book, it's a book of really great twist. And again, go back to what we were saying. One person that never he forgot to mention, not like he really forgot, but Richard Kravitz. Help, I mean, he has, what's the bookstore in Chapel Hill? What's his bookstore? We forget right now. Yeah, no, Richard's store in Chapel Hill. Yeah, but again, so, you can all of this, trying to get back and share it, and writing gets better and more thoughtful. So, but thank you, but it's a great book. Jack has a book out. Jack, is your book out yet? Jack, is your book out yet? Okay. Jack's working on a book. I thought it was out. I think he pulled it back in. All right. I just said I wanted to get away. Our next reader. This means you're on that. Please get right in.
TikTok, like that, but galloping horses, meadow flying willows, over in a lovely opalescent day. Galloping horses begin, swimming unknown depths of a favorite. Richly new shadows have roots banks. Swirling fog sneaks, then nestles, hugging the pond's still waters, covering reflections unobserved. Walking before the morning rooster crows, steamy ghosts back away, retreating into the wilderness, leaping onto misty galloping horses, followed by the crescent moon.
Thank you, Joanna. It's good to see you again. I really did. I know you're out of the country again. It's good to see you. Well, I like the poem. And I did want to mention that you can read more than one. We're going to take a break at probably about 6, and then we'll come back and have like 4 more poets. But you can read more than, because we're going to just read once, more than one poem if you want to. Our next poet, let's just think about it. And again, I think about the cats, and I'm not a cat. I wrote an anti-cat poem a few months ago, but it was not a cat-hating poem. It was a blue black cat. Love her. Yeah, yeah. One of the neighbors was walking by. He was like, "Where's that come from?" I was like, "Shit, where?" It was a really great black cat. And love him to death. I mean, love him to death. Just like the other one. And I couldn't. I saw a friend in the store. And I was a friend of mine. He saw a bunch of cats pulled in his bag. I said, "How many cats you got, man?" He said, "You don't want to know." I was like, "Try me." He said, "That bad. I got to teach you out." I mean, and again, so, whatever it is. And Michael likes to read a hadith. It's an Islamic saying. And there's actually an Islamic saying that, excuse me, death. Says if you have an animal and you can't take care of it, it's better you let it go and let it live. And that's the best thing to do. Because if it dies because you didn't take care of it, then it changed. You have to where it came in warm food. That's if we believe that you made this horrible thing. So again, with this book and all the other things, I feel bad. I was getting commercial. I was pissed off. But I can't have my dog now. And I can't come in here, man. I try to make it comfortable as hell for you out there. And I have, because of this book. You know, when I looked at it, I was like, it was so nice to be by that mouse. You know, I feel more connected about that. But, you know, we all have different circumstances. But next time I was thinking, this whole time, you have been able to come each other, be close to each other, shit, you got a horse or a dog or a cat. You know, you can hold them. Bird, they come to you, you know, you trade. I mean, you can hold them. They'll give, damn, just love them. You know, they look at you and trust you. So anyway, I really got to know with these, titles. You know, when I think about them right away, Pet Shore like really going human. Our next poet, writer, architect, friend of mine, Michael Roy Lane. Very ridiculous and everything. His name was across the street at his place, which he's having a winter social gathering on the 18th. You know, he might invite you, he might not. I don't know. But anyway, he does a magnificent structural, very tedious work. But he's a friend of mine. So please, welcome Michael Lane.
Thank you, Tom. You're welcome, sir. I don't know if I need this. Probably can hear me pretty well, right, Tom? I just got the book this week from brought it to me. I looked through it all, and I wanted to share with you that it was quite impressive. I think there are 30 or so poets.
32.
One third of them are here from Warren County. And so what you have is 20 poets or so from all over the country. And it's pretty amazing to see that these people, or some of their, you go to the back of the book and read their bios, it's pretty impressive. And so I wanted to share that with you. Thank you, Arlene, very much for all the work you've done.
So let me read it. The whole line part of it is really well. I'm giving it cheer.
So my poem is I put one poem. There are 4 parts of it. It's called Crowder of Cats. That's the name of a group of cats. These are the first 4 feline friends of Ace that I proposed cats I had over the years. I wrote all 4 of them, all 8 of them, but only 4 are published. So that's more pages than I need than they were willing to give me. So here we go. I was going to read out of the book, but I think I'm going to read out of this. My eyes are not as good reading that little type on that book, so this makes it easier for me. I hope you bear with me. Number 1, forgotten name. Grew up in a large family. My father did not abide any captured dogs in the house. Only my mother cared. We grew up with goldfish in a glass bowl on the sill. My mom's parakeets, each successively named Cecil, we buried in boxes in the backyard. So the first feline friend remembered came to visit me in Rockport, Massachusetts, when I lived with Bonnie. Can't now remember his name, though I remember his death. As he lived outside only, the neighbor, not liking cats, I found out, poisoned him in some food. My son visiting from California, together we dug a hole, buried him with ceremonies in the beachside backyard. Number 2, Shopsy. My second feline friend came unexpectedly during my first visit to the home of my future wife. Erica had found him on the roof, living by himself atop her Back Bay brownstone, a baby, scrawny, bewildered. Friend and companion to Erica, a most capricious boy, quiet and silent on one hand, energetic and playful on the other. Schatzi, German for little treasure. He took to me almost immediately. Whenever I entered the flat, he would jump up on the high dresser. Waiting for me to approach, he climbed atop my left shoulder, and as I rubbed his rump, he purred and drooled down my back. He loved to chase after paper balls thrown for him, and when we changed residences, paper balls and bats under everything. He was getting quite old when we moved, having lived only in one space. The change in the stairs he managed only by dragging his limp legs behind him. Not wishing him or ourselves continued pain and paralysis, we cried as he went to his final sleep. Disasters in an urn, I still hold here. Number 3, Fizzgig. A rambunctious little black kitten was my next feline friend. Lived in Boston, studio, Boston Center for the Arts, with me for only a short period. So young and playful to watch, spending hours jumping into piles of brightly colored fabrics that filled my studio sewing room. My environmental sculpture students from the Boston Architectural Center enthusiastically named him Fizzgig for his persona of continuous motion. Alas, he had feline leukemia, and we lost this lively character at the end of only one semester. My students were saddest of all. And number 4, Oski. Next came my best friend, who lived a long life in Boston and then in Raleigh, traveling south in Erica's lap all the way. After the death of Fizzgig, Erica took me to the animal rescue via subway to Brookline, Massachusetts, to find a replacement. Walked down the aisle, cages lining both sides. Looking at each cat I passed, at the end of the line, viewed a very large feline, gray and white in color. Though still in the cage, as I turned to walk back, he stretched out his paw to the cage grill, touching me on the arm. That was it. He was mine. Called him Oscar. Oskar, if you wish. German spelling, of course. Erica's native tongue. After shots, we took him home. At this time in my career, was back in my basement studio as the Mystic Bridge building was undergoing renovations. Right off, naturally, Oscar loved to investigate all the building's nooks and crannies, traveling the ceiling, hugging heat pipes from one artist's studio to another, eventually getting stuck inside one of the walls between studios. The resident artist helped me to get him out. And we had to take the wall apart. After a year in the basement studio, Oscar and I moved back home. Now a subsidized artist resident studio, 3rd floor over a popular restaurant. One knock at my studio door brought a young black boy to my space. He jumped back when he saw Oscar, exclaiming, "You have a lion." His next upper level residence, the south end of row house, where Eric and I moved in together so my son Jason could come to stay. Oscar loved the 3 floors, running up and down the stairs, encouraging Schatzi to follow, poor fellow, After a year, my son returned to California. I accepted a grad school at NCSU, packed up all our belongings in Oscar, and 3-day drive in a U-Haul truck. Apartment all ready for us. Oscar again accepted the change as long as we were together. He loved the second story windows, sunny all year long, birds and butterflies to see, lazy older fellows pass by. Balcony and windowsills to enjoy. After completing master's degree, hired as a landscape architect. Right away, we moved again into a little craftsman cottage with a second floor bedroom, a row of ceiling-high windows along the whole length of one wall. Oscar spent last years asleep in their life. I held and petted him in my lap. He's shaking right now, as the needle was inserted. Me crying all the time. Another urn. His ashes still dear. Thank you.
You're making us think a lot about things. Maybe you could latch on to latent thoughts. But I remember picking up Anita, or when I went to get Anita from Chicago, you talking about moving. Yeah, back in the truck and Yoki and what's that name? Nina. You know, so you brought that up and just move it. And I don't know, it's just interesting. We grow as writers because the thing God mentioned is talk about intimate things as we get to know each other, because some of the topics get more intimate. And we know some of the lines are more intimate things, you know, like the mention of your son, you know, based on some of our talks, you know, it being that poem, you know, so it poem for a lot to me about. Thank you for sharing it. And again, in this book, there was a lot about the loss, how people felt when their parents were gone. And for me, again, like I say, just softened up. It was not like I was hard, you know, but it just softened up something else. It made me feel just a bit more helpless. So there was something you read in there that said, you know, and I was like, yep, I never get another pen. There's a poem I think I never read this book, but I'm not able to. I just ain't take care of my damn self these days. You know, like with this book, I mean, like I don't know if I can take care of it with what, you know, it's what they give back. But thank you, Michael, for that and being you. We're gonna read a couple more, and then we're gonna take a break. Anita, I can come in with you. About ready for this room. Yeah. Come on. She come back in. I don't know. All right. So our next poet is poet. Tell me it's poet, not poetess. But our next poet is a dear friend of mine. I'm deeply indebted to her for her craft and what she brings to our books and what she brings to our community. And with that said, I'll introduce Tammy Tillerson. Would you please give her a hand? I think I know Burger King crown years ago.
And I don't have but I will share something. And I spent a day, my sister, I spent a day with very recently when my grandmother passed, my sister and here my grandmother passed. over 18. Wow, that's great. So we were writing letters to Santa Claus. Jamie's letter to Jamie says, "Dear Santa, I want for Christmas a cat alive." My sister's not happy about that, but if, you know, I know someone who's really, really dead, so I'm happy that it's for a live cat. I have it's been not, I'm a dog person. I have a senior Yorkie who has beginning stages of dementia. And I didn't really previously know that dogs could have dementia, but we're having fun. You go to wake children up in the morning, and knock on her bedroom door, and she's right at my feet, and she takes the mailman. So we're having fun. She has 4 beds now. She will be little princess for as long as I have her, so she will care our pets for princess. And she is my very best friend. So one of the points that I would like to keep in mind, a piece in your animal friends is about a walk. I do a lot of walk with this one. Walk with her. Called Good Neighbors and the Buffalo. Today I walk the dog as if I am a yo-yo of all the retractable dishes. Around the world cooks and come on, it's time to go keeping and get the mail. There is silver duct tape on the mouth as my husband keeps insisting this prevents the lid from being open. During torrential downpour, it leaks. Once new and adjustable, the latch is now embarrassing, having seen better days long before being battered in a midnight short ride. Its 4x4 post is cracked and leans slightly to the left. Often I wonder, I suspect the mailman's gotta wonder why on earth we haven't gotten it. It's not that we can't afford to fix it, I wish. If only it were that simple. An ongoing argument regards tape is considerably wiser and better. I'm not convinced. From 6 feet away, my neighbor beckons me over to ask about school. Will your children go when person is fall? Will they wear masks? Immediately I offer this, and instinctive yet guarded reply. We've had our shots. This is a small bite of reassurance that I'm not evident against my neighbor. We're trying to read is for a treat. My kids are no longer something in the mouth. The dog tries a hard break away from the leash, while my neighbor steers the farm new skater around the corner to focus on spraying his trigger control pump of pesticide. As I throw up my flag, hand waving, while shouting back an even louder, "Good luck!" Already thinking my neighbor needs to yell up a whole lot more than me, reckoning to pretend I don't know that nothing's ever going to kill wiregrass. I guess I'll call the drunk in the boat, as if I had intent to cut down my bridge from the earth to the sun.
That really gets a dollar for me. You know, you're breaking like I'm thinking that just today, like I mean, and everybody other stuff. You know, and like thank you, Tammy. And again, thank you for being such a great supporter. Tammy got a lot of eight hours ago, right? Tragedy. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what Pet Something do. You can walk outside and just be, and they'll love us, and they'll be like, "What's wrong? What's your pride? They're really great. What's wrong, Rich?" You know, I'm saying Richard Pryor, when I say community things, get him on his government, you know. So, our next poet, I'm just meeting you, and so forgive me for I didn't know you, but you're in the book. And I'm looking at you because you have to be every chapter. Please give her a hand.
awful. And if you can have a phone, you can. Very risky. My name's Debbie. I am not a poet at all on any planet. I don't like poets. I have two. They're still alive. Anybody wants one? Somebody can get in contact with me. Tam is my best friend. All right. So a little bit of backstory. I'm going to skip the first paragraph of my story here. My husband and my husband's from Canada. I'm from Raleigh. We're the accidental farmers. We ended up on farm. We don't really know how, but this is what happened. So here we are, in Chase City, our farm. He usually feeds them in the morning. I do not. I coffee in the morning. So around meeting time, the livestock congregate along around the day. They may not be terribly intelligent, but they certainly know when it's time to eat. They know when it's time to come home. This morning, however, there are only a handful of chickens to be seen. Our two Great Pyrenees, collie and hybrid, collectively referred to as birding, are still out because they work overnight, but I don't see them. I glance and note the gate to our upper pasture is closed, which is a good thing. So I know they're here somewhere and they're getting the plot to it. And I watch the water slowly rise on the trough where I'm currently filling. I figure they're still raising the goat feed in the barn. The goats must have knocked over a feed bin. I added a Tractor Supply round to my mental list of things I needed to do later. About 2 seconds later, I come to the realization that later might never come. I hear it before I see it. The same as you can hear a train coming down the tracks before it comes into view. You know how in epic battle scenes in movies where the good guys and the bad guys on the other side of the hill about to crest over and pull battle regalia, and they know they're about to be decimated? Braveheart, Lord of the Rings, movies like that. Now I know how Frodo felt. But that's not really what this story is about. Not really. Believe it or not, it's not the first time I faced a stampede. Leading the charge is Collie. Head bitch in charge after all. Her fluffy white head pops over the hill. Her long hair bouncing up and down in a way that would give Fabio insecurity issues. A two listening. Flanking her sides, or at least trying their very best to, the Pekin ducks. Solid white, creepy little jack, voidless, expressionless faces of nothing. You've ever seen the Aflac duck? This is what a Pekin duck is. They are creepy little. They can't fly, so they're just running alongside her and trying to, but they can't, because somebody else is running and they watching too, trying to keep them. And then behind her, the goats. All this keeping pace with Collie, and this is where our story gets interesting. Because riding on the goats, like knights on their valiant steeds, are chickens are riding on my goats. We have 3 goats currently, Trouble and Ruth, and on them are 3 of my younger birds. And then my middle-aged birds are on Turkey. Yes, we have a goat named Turkey gone around Thanksgiving year before last. Trouble, true to her name, is in the lead, screaming her goatee meow that resonates across the pasture and carries over the cacophony of bird sounds. The bird closest to her head has her wings spread out as if it was an attacking almost flag. The only thing that could make it crazier was that the chickens were holding sticks in their beaks like little swords, or they had helmets made from acorns and chest armors from pine cones. Warrior chickens riding on my goats at a full goat gallop. I swear I don't do drugs. I see chickens on my goats all the time. This is not all that unusual. Every night before feeding time, they come up on the deck, and the chickens get up on the goats and wait for us to come outside and feed them. I've never seen them riding it. They come up on the deck and they're begging for food like paupers on the streets of Dickens, England. The first time I saw it, I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I still laugh because it's still funny, even though I'm used to it. And I'm sitting there, standing there in my bathrobe, filling a water trough that's now overflowing because I'm staring at all of this unfolding in front of me. And I'm in my bathrobe. The trough is overflowing. The red flag is turning to red plain blood. You don't know how fun that is. It's splashing up past my little barn shoes, up onto my legs, up onto my road. I'm a mess. They're all running up behind me, or up to me. And behind Holly and the goats and the chicken is Hagrid. Hagrid's bringing up the rear with a look on his face as if to say, "What are you doing?" He usually has that look. I never said he was the smartest of peers. Great guardian, but he's just not the brightest of peers. So I'm taking all of this in. Like I said, the truck is overflowing, the red plain mud is splashing up past my barn shoes, onto my legs, onto my robe. And I'm thinking to myself, Deb, this is your life. This is your crazy, messed up life that some Canadian hippie convinced you to move to. He convinced you to get chickens. He convinced you to get goats. He convinced you to get ducks. And now you're going to die in a stampede led by chickens running to goats. The sad part is that no one will know exactly how I died, or to write a fitting obituary for me that fully relates to this tale that has to come straight out of George Orwell's Animal Farm. Didn't the farm animals stage a coup in that book? I think they did. It had to have looked something like this. How did that book end? I don't really remember. If I lived through this, I need to reread it. Don't send horses to the glue factory. That's what I remember from reading that book, 30 years ago, 25? Mental note, reread it. There has to be more to it than that. They turned horses to glue. That was my takeaway from that book all those years ago. All of this is going through my head, and I have the fleeting quandary of whether or not people who are cremated get a headstone anywhere, and if that is something I should have addressed, then I will. And Holly comes to a full stop about 30 feet in front of me, and the goats stop. A cloud of red dust slowly puffs out in the already sticky July morning air. The ducks don't stop because they have simpleton brains, but they do jump in the pond and swim away. The chickens dismount, everyone disperses, and I'm still alive. My life has been spared. Holly comes up, nudges my hand, and leans her 150-pound frame into my robe. Hagrid comes up and lies down in front of me in the mud from the still overflowing straw. Of course he does. It seems a truce has been issued, or maybe it was a warning. Maybe they were all just really excited to see me. Personally, I think my little animal friends were telling me not to be late for feeding time again, that there may be more serious consequences next time.
Because I remember reading that series of parents first the damn story. And when our news did it to me, I started reading it, and I was like, what's going on here? I'm getting the next. I really feel like I was starved. It was just so visual, I could imagine it. See it. So you can. Okay. I like it. Southside, you know. Some of us are choice right across from her. You know, she said that us, yeah, we're not, he likes it here. But that was an amazing. You know,
You're traffic destroyer, so people are coming like, what?
yeah.
That was crazy. One mile is going. That's not right.
Yeah. It's just, it was a really good story. It was a really, I was like, these are animals. I like, what are they? Somebody, no, you know, again, and for me, I know, I think maybe for most of us, I mean, you know, for me to really read some of these, because we go through it sometimes about critters, the cats, you know, our pets, because we got to be specific about how we name them. And so I think everybody's going through these things and the loss, I mean, especially when the loss, because when Yogi and Dina died, I buried them. You know, I'm not going to be careful. I said, this is the southern way. This is how we bury our pet. You know, I took them out back and I gave them proper burial and put some around the rocks. And, you know, she was surprised when I took that one step. I was like, oh, I know. I know. Hmm. See, thank you for sharing. Okay. Again, they mean a lot to us. We're going to have one more, our one more selection. And here's the book, and we got one more after that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to actually try to see if we can, you know, get some more, a couple of people. And if not, we're going to proceed. We'll have 5 more poets on the other side, more readers. In my series of dogs, Bandit, he was a Detroit dog. Like the Little Rascals Pit Bull Terrier. White with brown wing around his left eye, cute short tail. My little brother was his fan to my parents about critters. He figured since all their choices didn't work out, get his own dog. Kinda. And my brother brought him home from somewhere between the alley and Cadillac Street. Barely snuck him in the garage and had to feed him. Like the raccoon baby, he snuck from Stony Creek Park and filled up his jacket. I could never understand why the dog stayed around on his own. We didn't even try to keep him. I remember Mom and Dad trying to show him off. He was friendly though. Quiet, didn't eat much, didn't snap or growl, except at rats. He stayed digging at the rats, at the rat holes and the roaches in the yard next door. Didn't know until I was older that terriers were the best rat dogs too. I don't really know what happened to that dude either. I may have moved to Carolina that summer, but I missed him. Oh, that dude. We're gonna go to break and when we come back from the side, we're gonna have a story from Megan and me with William, Jack, and KJ. But again, please have some spirits if you drink spirits. If not, there's some water. And there's some cookies and crackers. We're gonna take like a 5-minute break after this. Our next writer, that's all it's up for, but Swin Girls. Will you please give him a hand? Swin is a little way figure out the Swin has lots. Bringing down the
I'm totally fine. Otherwise,
Let's go to the break. I know I put this up where you are.
okay.
We're gonna go to the break because we will pose the question that may take a while. So, Stanley, I'm sorry, Stanley, absolutely. We're gonna go to the break. After the break, we have 5 minutes. Please enjoy some of the refreshments.